Welcome to the home for the Tentative Yogi, where I teach yoga from the foundation up to really teach you how to do it safely so you can enjoy this practice for years to come. Now, in today's video, I want to share with you, I'm going to say something that always makes me a little nervous, I will say, because I do think it's something that we all need to be careful of, and I don't see a lot of people doing it, and that is using a blanket in Sukhasana or simple cross-legged position. So I want to share with you the anatomy behind Sukhasana, easy cross-legged, and why I recommend everybody should be sitting on something to make it easier for your body, more comfortable for you. It is the pose of ease, so we'd like to make it easy, right? Okay, so Sukhasana, first of all, let's just review it. There are lots of cross-legged positions in yoga, and they are differentiated by where you put your legs. So in Sukhasana, the legs are out from the body a little bit, so the feet are underneath the opposite knees, at least theoretically. I know that's kind of hard to get to. So here's what you need to know about anatomically. We have a really deep muscle in our body called the psoas muscle, and it is arguably the most important skeletal muscle in the body. I actually teach an entire workshop on this muscle because it is so profound. It makes such a difference. Now, the psoas runs from the front of your spine, so it attaches right to the front. In fact, it's the deepest of the abdominal muscles. And it runs from the lower thoracic, so right at the base of your ribs, all the way down through the lower back. It goes through the pelvis and attaches to the upper inner thigh. It is the only muscle that actually spans both the running from the torso to the legs. All other muscles go torso to pelvis or pelvis to legs. This is the only one that spans the distance, which actually is one of the reasons it makes it so special. Now, most of us, if not all, have really tight psoas muscles that cause it wreaks so much havoc. It's just amazing. And that tightness, it affects lower back, it affects your gait, so many things. So we always want to be doing what we can in order to give that psoas as much space to relax as possible. Now, I know when the knees are above the hip points, the psoas grips. So I'm going to give you a little side view here. So when your knees, I'm going to exaggerate it so you can really get a good feel. When the knees are up here, that psoas muscle is tight. It grips, okay? It's already tight, right? But it's just in a little additional grip. So if you can't get your knees below the hip points, you want to get your hips above the knees, okay? You with me so far? So in comes other kinds of cross-legged positions, and I can get off the blanket for these. So in like Siddhasana or Swastikasana, the knees can drop below the hip points if you're really open in your hips. And I happen to be very open in my hips. This is something that I can do. So I don't need a blanket for this pose. But when you move into Sukhasana, your feet are in the way. And this is true for everyone because that's where the feet go in Sukhasana. So when the knees are up now, you're going to, you can see they're up higher than my hip points, right? And that's true for everyone. And I actually can feel the gripping in my psoas. Most people can't. I've done tons of psoas work. So I get people who say, no, I'm okay, Laura, I don't feel it at all. And I'm like, oh, just stick with me. It's tight, okay? That's just a physiological law, if you will. So if instead, and I happen to know I need to get up a little higher in this pose, do you see? Now my hips are above my knees. And it's so much easier. I feel the spaciousness in my lower back. It just feels better. But again, you may or may not feel it. You just have to trust me that it is a truth, if you will. There are a few truths anatomically speaking about the body, and I definitely recommend that you use a blanket when you come into Sukhasana. Now, I don't always agree with props. I do use them in my own practice. I use them in my teaching for sure because I believe in keeping the body aligned. I use the props specifically to keep people safe and to be able to experience poses that their body couldn't get into without the props. Now, I did a whole series, you can link to it here, on pros and cons of props. Plus, I did separate videos on each of the main props, strap, block, and blanket, and how you can use it in your own practice. You can go check that out if you have more questions. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you will. It does make a big difference when you give me that thumbs up, and subscribe if it's something you want to have more of. I would love to see you again. Thanks for coming. Namaste.